What's up? So we've all had those days where your phone falls out of your pocket and practically nukes itself on impact, or you forget to cancel a free trial and get decimated with a charge. Happens to the best of us. But today, we're looking at people who messed up so bad they make that brand new car you cooked your credit score for look like a magnificent financial play. We're talking about generational debt level of frick up. The kind of mistakes where my bad doesn't really cover the fact that you just misplaced $1 billion or a small country. Let's get right into it. Here are 10 of the most expensive mistakes in history. Number 10. The Vesa, a very expensive physics lesson. In 1628, a Swedish king named King Gustavus Adolphus wanted a warship that gave off big D energy. So, of course, he demanded extra cannons and heavy decorations. Shipbuilders, of course, knew it was top heavy, but you don't really say no to a king of the 17th century, at least if you like keeping your head on your shoulders. The day came that the Vasa set sail. Surprisingly, it valiantly moved across about 1,300 meters before it caught a little bit of a breeze, or maybe someone sneezed too hard or something, and hilariously tipped over and sank in front of a confused but cheering crowd. It now sits in a museum in Stockholm. It's essentially a $200 million warning that physics still apply to cocky kings. It took a total of 333 years to bring it back up, which is almost enough time to think about the mistake you just made. The $50 billion typo. In 2005, a Japanese stock trader at Mizu Securities tried to sell one share of JCOM stock for 610,000 yen. Instead, he accidentally typed in a sell order for 610,000 shares for 1 yen each. The company only had about 14,000 shares in existence, but the computer didn't care about the paradox. It just processed the trade because machines have no soul. Despite trying to cancel it, the firm lost at least $225 million in less than 24 hours. Proof that double check your work isn't just something that teachers say to be annoying. It's the difference between a few yen and a company's complete collapse. Number 8. Selling Alaska for spare change. In 1867, Russia was broke and worried that if Britain went to war with them, they'd just seize Alaska anyways. So, to be petty, they sold it to the US for $7.2 million. At the time, Americans thought that it was a massive L. They called it Seward's Folly. And then we found the golden oil. Next thing you know, Alaska became a deeply loved and respected state in the US. Funny how that works, huh? Today, the resources in Alaska are worth roughly $16.5 trillion. Russia basically sold a winning lottery ticket because they needed gas money for a car they were about to lose anyways. Number 7. The Archduke's Wrong Turn. This is the ultimate what are the odds moment. In 1914, Archduke Franz Ferdinand's driver took a wrong turn in Sarajevo and ended up stopping right in front of a guy who had tried and failed to assassinate Franz Ferdinand literally just earlier that day. His driver, ironically, stalled the car while he was trying to reverse. One oops on a GPS-less map led to a global conflict that costed an estimated $200 billion and ended millions of lives. From this one oopsie, World War I was sparked. This war caused many, many issues and deaths in nearly all of Europe. Because of this, some could say that it's the most expensive three-point turn in history. Number 6. The Martian Metric Mishap. In 1999, NASA lost the $125 million Mars Climate Orbiter. Why? Because one engineering team used metric units while another one used English units. The software naturally sent the wrong data to the thrusters, and the orbiter got too close to the atmosphere and likely became a very expensive shooting star. Despite that, I still wouldn't even say that it's top 10 in worst misunderstandings in history. Don't worry, that video is coming soon too. Number 5. Excite.com declines Google. In 1999, Larry Page and Sergey Brin offered to sell Google to a search engine called Excite for $1 million. Excite's CEO passed on the offer. Google then countered with a cheaper deal of $750,000. The CEO of Excite declined again, probably feeling like he was a business genius at the time. Google's parent company, Alphabet, is now worth about $2 trillion. And as for Excite, they eventually got bought out and faded into the where are they now side of the internet. And that's $1 trillion no that definitely keeps some people up at night. Number 4, the Lake Pied Noir sinkhole. Have you ever tried to dig a hole and hit something in the dirt that made you move spots? That same thing happened to Texaco, but instead of moving spots, they just rearranged the geography of Louisiana. In 1980, a Texaco oil rig was drilling in Louisiana when they accidentally hit a salt mine underneath the water. It was like pulling the plug in a bathtub, if the bathtub was a 1,300-acre lake. The entire lake drained into the mine, taking the rig, 11 barges, and 65 acres of land with it. The waterfall into the mine was briefly the tallest in the state. Somehow, no one died, but Texaco had to pay out about $45 million. It's the most expensive wrong spot in the history of oil pulling. Number 3, the New Coke disaster. In 1985, Coca-Cola decided to change their 100-year-old recipe because they were losing a blind taste test war with Pepsi. They launched the revolutionary change, New Coke. The public didn't just dislike it. They reacted like the company had just insulted their ancestors, and within 79 short days, they had to bring back the Coca-Cola Classic. And no, I'm not talking about the classic Coke that was made with Coke, if you know what I mean. But honestly, if that special Coke was what I was used to and they got rid of it, I'd be mad too. The marketing fail and wasted production cost the company hundreds of millions of dollars. It turns out people don't actually want better, they just want the same familiar thing until they die. Number 2, Blockbuster says nah to Netflix. In 2000, Netflix was a struggling DVD by mail service. The founders offered to sell the company to Blockbuster for $50 million. The Blockbuster CEO reportedly thought it was a joke. Blockbuster eventually went bankrupt in 2010, while today, Netflix is worth around $300 billion. Blockbuster is now a single store in Oregon that survives on nostalgia and irony alone. And finally, number 1. One that you may know of is the Chernobyl safety test, the absolute gold standard of expensive mistakes. In 1986, operators at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant ran a safety test, but disabled the automatic shutdown mechanisms to do it. It's like testing a fire extinguisher by setting your house on fire and locking all the doors. Human error, bad design, and an it'll be fine attitude led to a meltdown that cost an estimated $700 billion in cleanup and containment. It's a permanent reminder that sometimes when the machine says stop, you should probably, I don't know, stop. History is basically just a series of people saying, trust me, right before losing the equivalent of a small country's wealth. Makes that $5 you spent on V-Bucks feel a little bit better, doesn't it? At least you didn't accidentally lose track of an orbiter. If you guys like this video and want to see more like it, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And come back because I make these videos all the time. Thanks.